Hey guys, I'm Kyle. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be installing these SS3 LED pods from Diode Dynamics in my new front bumper, and I'm really excited. Diode Dynamics makes some really high quality lights, and I had the opportunity a couple months ago to start a sponsorship with them, so they give me a nice discount on the lights, and in return I get to show you guys how awesome of a product they make. I really do try to be honest about my opinion, and one of the things that I would say is prior to getting a discount from high-end lighting companies, I was never a purchaser of high-end lights. I was always buying $20 pods on Amazon, $30 pods, $30 light bars on Amazon, because I always felt like for I don't know, a fifth of the cost or a sixth of the cost, if I have to replace them once a year, then I was all right with that. But it really has made a huge difference now, coming from using cheap LEDs and using some high quality LEDs. As you guys know, if you follow the channel, I have their floodlight pods in the back bumper, and now these are the SAE driving pattern. So I'm really excited to have some street legal output LED pods that I can actually use with low beams on the road, because they have a very focused, widespread beam that shines down at the road like fog lights should, and they don't blind oncoming drivers. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get on with this install. I am using just a very cheap Amazon wiring harness, and I thought I'd take you guys along, let you guys see some of the process, because some of you might want a cheaper alternative than a whole system like an S-Pod system or the Switch Pros system. So there's a lot of really good systems out there, but they are expensive. They're a couple $100s just for wiring, and this is $10 for wiring. So if you guys want to see how to put a normal wiring harness in a vehicle like the ZR2, follow along. It won't be a full step-by-step. A lot of this stuff are up under the center console or up under the foot pedals and really hard to film, but you'll at least get an idea of where the wires go, where they connect, and yeah, so let's go. So we're gonna work a little bit backwards, since I already have a wiring harness installed. There you can see the one switch I already have installed. The other one's gonna be just opposite of it right here. I'm gonna give myself some room to work. I'm gonna take the center console apart and then hopefully use the wire that I already have going through the dashboard to get the second one through the firewall. This is going through the firewall, as you'll see, is definitely the most difficult part of this install. I mean, from the inside, it's way up under, like I'm not even gonna be able to get a camera on. So really tough to crawl up under from the inside. And then from the outside, you kind of have the same problem. It's down in the engine bay, on the front wall of the engine bay, especially with how tall my truck is now. Really tough to get to from both sides, and you're trying to shove wires through a rubber grommet. Other than fighting with that until you finally get it, the rest of the install is really easy. So you just kind of have to have some patience and work with it. But we'll go ahead, we'll get the center console pulled out, and we'll catch up there. Okay, so you can see here where I have this switch located at in this back support. You can see there's some confliction with where I drilled that hole. This is where my previous one was when I just had the one switch in the center. I drilled this one planning to have two, and I knew they were going to have to be symmetrical. So I would recommend center if you're just doing one. This was a much easier location to drill. And this height cleared the wireless charger. So if you have the wireless charger version, that's why I had that one as high as I did. Now they're a little bit lower with the new center console. So I am going to drill just a symmetrical hole over here for the other one in this base support. And then I'm going to, it's going to be kind of hard to follow, but I have this wire fed basically down to the ground there, and then up inside that that plastic panel to the firewall. And I'll see if I can get you some clips of that, but that's going to be pretty tough to film under there. Basically, I'm going to tape the new wire to my current wire that's going through the firewall and try to use that to yank the new one through. So this fuse, as you can see, is very stretched. All these wires are at kind of their full length to get to that fuse where I screwed it in there. So I'm going to try to think of something I can do to remedy that. I might just use a bracket and pull it up off the wall a little bit. There you can kind of see that wire going into the firewall way back up in there. So here is the wiring harness. It has a little disconnect here going to the fuse and the switch. So this is the switch end that will be installed once the wire is in the cab, and this end here is, you can see it's a little bit large. Last time I actually cut this to be able to feed the 3 wires through, because I could not get this plastic piece to go through, and then once I fed the wires through, I had to splice them back together. This time I think it's going to be a little bit easier just taping it to the wire that I already have going through. So I'm going to tape this up real good to that wire and try to pull it through the firewall. So there's the wire going through, and now this is the new wire all taped up to it. Let's see if I can yank that through or not. All right, so I got both the leads through now. Now I'm going to plug them both back into the lines that go to the switches. And these are actually really tight. They're, like I said, they're kind of at the end of their rope to get all the way down the center console and up to where I need them. So I'm going to tape them once I plug them in there at that connection, because what I've had happen a lot is while I'm pulling it through, trying to pull it through, it unplugs itself. So plug those in, tape them up, and I'll see if I can get the switches in. Good?
Yep.
All right, so that was a lot of work. I got it through the firewall, and as you can see now, I've used a little piece of that bracket material I used for the winch install to put both fuses on one screw. So I avoided drilling any more screws into the side of the truck and got both of those fuses on one. So I'm leaving the power disconnected here until the end, but I have the ground all bolted up to the ground of the battery there. And now, the first thing that we want to do is make sure that the harness provides us with enough wire to get to where we need to go. So you just kind of size it up. This one's pretty easy to tell. This is going to be plenty of wire to get to those 2 lights once I run it down inside the grill. So now I can show you probably one of, if not my favorite parts of the design that Diode Dynamics uses for their wiring. So most lights, when you buy it, it will come looking something like this, except that this is not a plug-in. These wires are actually permanently attached to the light. And so what you have to do to be able to ever disconnect and reconnect it is, when you wire it, you have to put a plug in your wiring. So it creates more work for you. You have to wire both sides to a plug. But with the style that Diode Dynamics uses, this is really nice that this actually just disconnects from the light, because what I can do is hardwire this to my wires. I don't need to use these chintzy little, these are real bad connectors. You don't want to use these. I can hardwire these 2 wires together, and then I'll still have a plug right on the back side of my LED light. If I ever needed to take the bumper off or work on the lights or anything, it'll still be real easy to disconnect the light. And just overall, the quality level that Diode Dynamics uses here with the heat dissipation and the lighting quality. I love these lights from Diode Dynamics. All right, we are done. So, super happy with them. Everything works well, switches work well. I'm real excited. I'll take the truck out tonight and see what they look like in the dark. But man, 2 months ago, I was complaining because it was April in Wisconsin and it was 20 degrees and snowing. And now 2 months later, it's 90 degrees, humid, hot, and sticky. I'm so ready to leave this state. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Let me know what you think of the lights in the comments below. Till next time.